Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, da doo-dah day.
Hi there, folks. I'm Dan Hallfield. Welcome to Stupid O'Clock. We don't know where Joe Dog is. He's off doing something, and he is also quite tired from being out and promoting HallowCon's so much, and it will remain so until after the con. And bless him, he's doing a lot of work and traveling around, and he and Chris are getting the word out, and everything is hunky dory there. With me tonight, we got Joe Botman, we got John Scarborough,
Okay. Nice.
we got
I thought you were
Dawn.
cheering for me.
Hi, Dawn. How are you doing tonight?
I was doing well.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. You can't make me cry.
We'll get you a business card. Will that make you feel better?
I have business cards. Joe has. I have business cards made up. Joe has them.
For those of you who don't understand the joke I just told, you had to be here before the show started when we were all doing the backstage talking. So, nice. Okay. Quick word. We lost Dabney Coleman this week.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's he. You know, it's kind of funny. He's one of those actors that either played a jerk or he had a really cool role. And one of my favorite roles he ever played was in a movie called Bite the Bullet, where he played. It's a Western. It's a horse race, and he played the rich guy's son. So kind of like spoiled, you know. But they were having this big horse race, and the rich guy had this thoroughbred racehorse that he was putting into this cross-country race. Okay. And they wound up, during the cross-country race, all the horses got stolen except their horse. No fault of it. Yeah, so
A little
they
bit
sus. They went to chase the people down to get their horses back. And the only horse that didn't get stolen was the rich guy's horse. And his son comes out there and goes, "This ain't the kind of horse race I want to win." He looked at the guy that was the referee and goes, "You set a reasonable time for them to get back with those horses." And he went from being the guy, the jerk of the movie, to being the hero of the movie right there. Just one scene.
Yep.
And he played it really well. That's just, and of course he's been in other things.
9 to 5.
Yeah, 9 to 5 was one he played. Of course, that one he played jerk, and then War Games with Matthew Broderick and so on and so forth. Of course, he sort of played it was another one of those. He was kind of a jerk and kind of a hero at the same time. You know,
A heroic jerk.
a heroic jerk. Yes. And then one of my favorites, because it was really underrated, was a movie called Cloak and Dagger. Okay. And in this movie, I'm trying to remember the kid's name. He played Elliot in E.T.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember
Thomas.
the movie, Thomas, something Thomas. Yeah, I can't remember. Anyway, he played the kid's dad, who was he worked for the Air Force. Okay, just some standard Air Force airman, and he wound up being he was kind of a jerk through that movie because he was always off doing the Air Force stuff and wasn't really paying attention to his son. But at the end of the movie, he winds up being the hero, and his
Henry Thomas is the name of Elliot.
Thank you, Henry Thomas. And it's kind of funny. He plays two characters in the movie. He plays the dad that kind of in the military and doesn't have time to pay attention to his son. And then he plays the son's imaginary hero, Jack Black, who is like, this super spy that just does everything. That's where the movie got its title. So, have y'all not seen that movie?
Not that one.
Nope.
It's
Never
actually,
heard of it before.
Really? That was the big one. I was a kid. It was. I think I actually saw that one in a movie theater and not, on a download.
I think I was working that night.
Let's see. You're Hot to Trot. He was in that one.
I don't remember that one.
That had Bobcat Goldthwait in it with the talking horse.
He was in a movie. He was in a movie with Chevy Chase called Modern Problems.
I love that.
One
Had
I've
Del
heard
Carter
of.
in it too.
Which he played a jerk in that one. So
that's oh my god, Nell Carter. That was a good one.
But you got to see him naked. That was kind of that was a plus. Dabney Coleman walking around.
I don't remember that part, so apparently I blocked that.
Really? Oh, he was trying to hit on the guy's wife, and he was walking around with a towel wrapped around himself. He'd just gotten out of the shower. And as he's walking away, the towel just accidentally fell. So,
accidentally?
Yes.
Because somebody had some modern problems.
There you go. So.
Now, I'm not giving away the movie. Beverly Hillbillies. He was in the movie.
Did he play Mr. Drysdale in that one?
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. I do remember that. Because Lily Tomlin played Mrs. His secretary. You had Mr. Drysdale and Miss Jane. Miss Jane? Is that her name? Jane Hathaway. Miss Hathaway. That was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to actually go back in time and rewind the Beverly Hillbillies in my brain.
Which ironically, they were both in 9 to 5, and Dolly Parton made an appearance in the movie, she was also in 9 to 5. Hi, Donna.
Hey, Donna.
Was Jane Fonda in Beverly Hillbillies?
No,
they missed an opportunity. They could have had
know.
I'm just.
Yeah, no, it's like weird because you start talking about all the movies that he was in when I was a kid, and it's like he was in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, about every third movie it seemed for about 6 years.
Apparently he cruised through the disco era and didn't have to shave his mustache. So, interestingly enough, the last thing he was in was Yellowstone. He played Kevin Costner's father, Dutton Sr., whatever his name. And that was his last role. And he had he played the Commodore in Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah.
He was like one of the big crime bosses in the area. And basically he was the guy that all the crime bosses talked to.
Or were afraid of.
Exactly. He was not actually a crime boss, but he was the guy that told the crime bosses what to do. So he was a crime CEO, I guess.
Trying to look up the little girl's name. Little girl.
We've lost
Big
quite
girl.
a few actors here in the first half of May.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that happens.
Yeah. We're getting that kind of seniority now, so
Yeah. What was the line I liked? Was you're getting to that point in life where life starts taking away more than it's given.
yeah.
I cannot remember what movie that's from. That one always hit home with me. What really gets you? I'm 58, and I keep seeing these news stories about so and so died at 47.
Yeah, I see those. Imagine how I feel.
So and so died at 52. And then you see that there's the occasional one where so and so was 23 and died. It's like, oops,
that's way too early. I'm always getting those where, they were only 63, and I'm going,
heck, Dan, you keep going, and to be like, he was only 82. And
hey, so was my grandfather. One of them. The other one was gone before my dad was 5. So yeah, World War I vet. Seems he went to the exact wrong army base in Florida for scarlet fever.
Ow.
Yeah.
Well, and then they had that big Spanish influenza outbreak right after World War
It could have been either one. The story we were told in childhood was it was blood poisoning because he tied a string around his finger to remember something. And yeah, I know, it's stupid.
I mean, the early 1900s were just horrible for the United States. I mean, you had Spanish influenza, you had and then leading into the Great Depression, they'd just gotten out of World War I. They didn't take care of the veterans, and Calvin Coolidge was president. I mean, how horrible! I mean, you think we got it bad now? Those people were literally like, eating paste and stuff. So
and finding ways to enjoy it.
No offense. I'm trying to figure out what idiot in the United States government thought it would be a great idea to outlaw alcohol.
That wasn't Calvin Coolidge.
Because that's the kind of congressman and senator they need to dig up their graves and literally just throw their bones into a septic tank, let everybody shit on them for the rest of their existence.
And salt the earth where the grave was, and sterilize the rest of their family. And that's not eugenics. That's practicality. You can't let them genes come back again. Cappy wants a link. Let's see if I can actually get Messenger to fire up on this computer without asking me.
Would you like me
PIN number?
I think I can send him a link. I'm pretty sure I've got him as a buddy. Let me check. There we go.
Oh, you got it?
I'm trying to.
Yeah, Messenger has been asking me to provide a PIN number that I don't have. And never had, and don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Darn it!
And when I've tried to do
that is weird. I went to click on his name and it disappeared. Hang on a minute.
I will probably not be on next Thursday.
Oh.
Well, might be down in your neck of the woods, Dan. Well, not that far. I'll be in your state.
I can't promise that I will stalk you, but nobody will know that I'm there.
You know where I'll be.
Yes, I do.
HallowCon is this weekend, so I'm flying in and on Thursday. So
one of these days, I'm going to get the hang of this here computer stuff. Yuck.
Yeah,
I
next
think
Thursday.
Carl and Donna will be. They won't be in Georgia, but they will be out of town as well.
Yep, that's what Carl said. Next Thursday, we'll all be out of town. And there's Cap.
Hi.
Hey, Cappy.
Yoo-hoo, John. Look, he's looking at me like, what? He said my messenger just appeared, so I sent him a big old long all capitals. Yoo-hoo.
Oh, okay. That wasn't it. Actually, I had already sent it. No, I went to send it to you, so I put it in the link and everything. I'm sitting here, and all of a sudden, and I realized I didn't hit the button to send. Right? I'm like, it was there. It was just waiting for me to punch a button, which is why the comment. One of these days, I'm going to figure out how to use this here computer thing. Yep.
I love your
Now,
new background.
Listen, you two. You start doing dueling maps tonight. I'm going to log off.
Like you got something better to put on the screen.
Ooh, Carl, I forgot about that. Well, I didn't forget about it. I did put it on the list of. I'm trying to get my list together of stuff I need to do and before now and then. And Chromebook, yes, thank you.
Who's on that list?
Make your little list. With like check off boxes. Not check off like the guy that was flying the Enterprise, but like you check them off one at a time.
I am
just checking off.
just trying to figure out what to bring for everything and remember everything and
Phone charger,
got that.
top of the list. Okay. Phone. Chromebook.
Oh, it's right under meds. Meds kind of went on top of phone charger.
Yes. That was. I was just about to say whatever meds you have to take.
One of the things I've got a phone recharger, little backup battery thing. I always charge it up, throw it in the bag probably. Coffee maker. I have this neat little Black & Decker make 1 cup of coffee at a time coffee maker, and all you need is water and coffee.
Oh.
Yeah, those are nice too. Is that the battery? Is that the solar panel or both?
That's a solar panel and it's rechargeable by several different ways, but you pretty much have to keep it aimed directly into the sun to get anything to charge in a reasonable length of time.
I almost bought this a while back, like 20 years ago. They had a camera bag at Wolf Camera that across
God,
the
there's
bag
a memory.
was a solar panel.
Yeah.
And what was really cool about it was when you lifted up the lid to the camera bag, there was a little pocket in there with a battery charger. You could put 2 AA batteries in it. Close the lid, and while you were walking around with this camera bag around your shoulder, it was charging the batteries.
Yeah, I got one years and years and years ago. It was called a Power Monkey, and it was this little egg-shaped battery, and you could charge it up from a wall wart. It came with a fold-out solar panel that you could clip onto your shoulder, or and have it go directly into the
Now they got those
battery.
The ones you see now for camping they're about the size of a paperback book, and they fold out to about the size of a magazine.
Yeah.
And they got lots of tie downs on them, and you can like tie it on top of your rucksack and charge your phone while you're marching along in the rain and the shade of the trees, so that you can't actually see the sun, so it never actually works. It's wet and muddy and breaks. And
Do y'all remember the Motorola bag phones?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The
Remember
Zach Morris's.
No, not Zach Morris. This thing was an actual bag. Like you could carry it like a little.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was about the.
yeah,
It was
that-
about the size of a manscaping bag. You know, you had your clippers and scissors and deodorant and
No,
everything. And little.
tell us more.
Yeah, I'm
not-
not familiar with manscaping bags. I've never had one.
I would have
anyways.
said a very small briefcase.
Yeah, I would have said a
No.
shoebox, which is like a standard unit of measure. And
They were about as big as this jug of Hawaiian Punch. Was the Motorola bag phone? So there, you have a size reference.
Did they come with a Hawaiian Punch in it?
John, I'm
No,
gonna
there
keep
wouldn't have
asking,
been
I'll shut
room
up.
for the phone.
Anyways,
Anyways,
that would have been nice if you were on the
We
phone
had-
in the middle of nowhere drinking Hawaiian Punch while you're on the phone.
You can do that now.
Because how's about a nice Hawaiian Punch? Okay.
you're about to get one.
Uh,
He's
okay,
going to pack you in a fat lip.
Anyways,
Ah!
we had one of those, and
What
the
did
geek
Carl?
in me, because I lived in Peachtree City, so we had golf carts. Well, anytime mom, dad, or I, or my brother even took the golf cart out, I rigged a solar panel on top of the golf cart that would regulate the 12-volt portable input to keep the bag phone going and trim the battery. So we had this little wire that ran down one of the pillars of the golf cart with a.
Was it an
With a,
electric
uh,
golf cart? Was it an electric golf cart?
It was.
Because I know
It
a lot
was.
of people were getting those solar panel roof things for their little electric
Well,
golf cart.
The problem
whenever
with
whenever you parked, it would help top off the battery. So,
the problem with that is the batteries back then were putting out over 200 amps. You couldn't get that out of a 2 foot by 3 foot solar panel back then.
you weren't losing. Sometimes you just lose power parking the darn thing. You park, you go drive it down to the bar. You're in the bar drinking. It's losing power while it's just sitting out in the parking lot.
Well, I had it set up for just
the lights on.
I had it set up with a regulator for 12-volt 10 amps, a typical car cigarette lighter, which is what it was designed for.
Right.
So I mounted the female end in the dash of the golf cart, and we could just sit there, turn the phone on, stick the cigarette lighter into it, and as we were driving around in the golf cart, didn't have to worry about that bag phone going, because that thing only had like a 90-minute lifespan.
The National Guard had this problem that you only use the vehicles for like one weekend of a month, then it sits out in the motor pool for 20 days or whatever, and the batteries would drain just sitting out in the weather. And everything. So they came along, and there were a lot of vehicles we just didn't use hardly at all, like road graders, bulldozers, and they just sit around. So somewhere down the line, they came along and they started putting these little solar panels on top of the cabs for the road graders and bulldozers and stuff like that, just to keep a little trickle going into the battery so that the battery just wouldn't dry up and die. Of course, you still have to go out and check the water, which was something else.
brick phone.
Yeah.
That's what the Zach Morris was. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Now, I always thought the brick phone was the big gray thing that was about the size of a thick paperback book, about the size of War and Peace. There's another standard unit.
Yeah. Gray or white. First one I ever saw was an engineer that came to the factory, and he just happened to be.
There's the Zach phone.
It just happened to be an SCA member, and he showed up at a party we had later that night.
Yeah, that was the Zach Morris phone, the Dynatac 8000, and then this is what we had in the golf cart,
Yeah.
or anything if we took it around with us. This is what we carried, and as you can see, it's just a little foam soft bag with a hard bottom to it, and there's
Right.
the 12-volt input. Yeah,
And it was mostly battery. That's,
Yeah.
yeah.
you're basically
The
carrying
bottom,
around motorcycle
the bottom half of that bag was the battery.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
This guy showed up at the home of the people that were doing the SCA group, and he came in, had his brick phone, and
up until right now,
he sat there and dialed their number, and the phone rang, and everybody went crazy because we had no experience with a cell phone before.
You know, up until today, like right now, this very last 2 minutes, I didn't realize those things came in different colors.
Yeah.
What?
I
The
looked
Dynamax
that up.
or
There's
the
a red
backbone?
one, a pink one, a black
Yeah.
one.
The only ones I've ever seen were black and white, just like that one. But
Well, there was. You got to remember too. In the '90s, everybody loved their beige colored stuff.
oh, believe me, if they'd come out in the 70s, they'd have been avocado.
Harvest Gold.
Or Harvest Gold, or what's the brown, earth tone brown, or whatever it was. And then what was the rust color? Was russet. That was the one. Yeah.
Yeah, we had that. We had that phone, and it costed us $600 to program that thing. And of course, there was my dad's Jaguar.
Oh
that
heck,
cost
you can still
us-
buy them things.
Yeah, but you can't use them.
Huh.
If you buy one, you will be left with just something to hold on to, because the system that phone used was AMPS, the analog mobile phone system, I believe was the terminology for it. Now, it still exists, believe it or not. AMPS was shut down when 1G digital services first started. It still resides in the exact same frequency band that the old analog system resided in, at 756 to 848 megahertz, which is coincidentally known today as band 5.
Please don't put that picture on my wife's Facebook. I will have to buy one of those print phones.
I'm assuming it was the Victorian phone.
Yes.
Uh-huh. And then I will have to wire it up so it actually works with the answering machine and everything else.
Ooh.
I do not
There you
need
go.
that kind of engineering problem at my
Now,
age.
wait a minute, Dan. Here you are retired. You should get one of those and actually make like a smartphone out of it. So that all you got to do is plug it into a power source. You don't actually, and it just acts like a cell phone and has the answering machine and text and
There's a photo with the battery and the controller, the computer that was in the bottom of it. Yeah, the entire bottom half of that bag was the electronics here. These things were, and they were heavy too.
Yeah, I've got to reserve my ingenuity for ripping the floor up and replacing it. Yeah. 60-year-old copper pipes can be quite annoying.
We had our main water line broke right at the meter. From the meter to our house, it broke right there at the meter. And I think it's because the hole where the meter was let the cold get down to it. It wasn't under the ground. It was, in a hole. And they came in, and the plumbers that replaced it, they replaced it with something. It's a super polyurethane or something like that. It's flexible tubing, and the nice thing about it is it won't freeze. If the water in it freezes up, it expands with the ice, so you can't break it with ice.
Sounds like PEX.
Yes. PEX, that's what I was thinking of. PVC is replacing PEX because it's a lot more flexible and therefore less prone to ice breaking, causing problems. So,
Only problem is they had to cut a slit in our driveway to run it from the meter across the driveway through the yard, and I'm still filling in holes from that shit.
Wait, why is your water main going under your driveway?
It's an old house.
Because they built this neighborhood on the cheap.
They built that neighborhood on 1950s rock and roll.
We had the
private court
siding
code existed that it had to be a straight run.
When they built this house. They used that siding that looks like really thin particle board with plastic over the front of it.
Oh yes, I know that stuff real well.
And when the tornadoes came through in 2011, it literally rattled that stuff so badly that it just kept crumbling off the side of the house. We had to get real vinyl siding. Our neighbor, next door neighbor, who just bought the house, he hadn't been living there a year yet. Well, about a year. He still got that original siding. His house is almost as old as ours. So.
Do you remember Ira and Jeannie from LibertyCon?
Maybe.
They live somewhere in between Dalton and Chattanooga, East Ridge. They live at East. There was a tornado came through East Ridge, picked up Jeannie's house before they got married. Picked up Jeannie's house and moved it about 6 inches over to the side and set it back down.
Ouch.
And knocked over a bunch of 100-year-old oak trees or whatever. You know, little ones.
Yeah. Our oak trees probably would have survived if it wasn't for the woodpeckers. The woodpeckers had gotten into the oak trees, and wherever there was a woodpecker nest, which is about 30 feet up, I think there's like a standard height woodpeckers like to put their nest at. There's like 5 oak trees in our backyard, and all of them got topped right where the woodpecker nest was.
They'll do it.
And then our neighbor's oak tree came down our yard and did a lot of damage, tore up the fence and everything.
Yeah.
Then our tree, we had a big sycamore in the backyard. It knocked about 20 feet off the top of it, rolled it across the top of the house, and dropped it on the end of the house where the trunk of it, the eave over our dining room, it was leaning right on that eave. And all the leaves were down in the yard. The leaf end of it was down in the yard, but the trunk end of it was up on the eave. And our dining room has this big 6 foot by 6 foot window.
Ouch.
It's sort of like a bay window, but it's broken up. But the main centerpiece is a 6 foot by 6 foot. I'm sitting here looking at that and going, God. We went and got a chainsaw. I went over there and I cut as much dead weight off the top of it, the part that was laying on the ground. I cut as much of that off as I could. Then I figured out, yeah, I can get this. So I started cutting it. Sure enough, it was beautiful. I wish I'd videotaped it. I got it to fall right off the side of the house. Didn't tear off any roof tiles. Didn't break the window. Just as pretty as you please. The only damage that thing wound up doing was it landed on the fence, because that right behind the dining room is where our backyard fence starts. So it crushed that. And I had to fix that too.
Surprised you didn't serious buddy it.
Too close to the glass.
No, after you knocked it down, it was all down the ground. Surprised you didn't turn it into wood with some serious buddy.
No. I just bought a brand new chainsaw, pal. I was working out some frustration on that one.
Boy got a new toy. He gonna play with it.
I wore that thing out. Let me tell you.
No, me, I would have serious.
Hello, Michaela.
Hi.
Make a big old spiral around the remaining part of the trunk and then just sit there.
No, it's too close to everything. So that's.
Michaela, I had no idea that you had a fear of little people.
Really?
Oh.
I don't know.
Dan knows why I'm laughing.
We have waded this creek before.
Well, no, she's commented on my picture of me and Ted and Brad Williams, and I was lost, and I was made aware that she has that fear, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I'm not laughing at the phobia. I'm laughing at the conversation we had about it last night.
Yes, Dawn. If you had been aware, you would have excluded.
She was there,
Michaela, from the Facebook post. If you'd been aware that Michaela had this fear, I know for sure you would have post this to friends except
Yeah,
Michaela.
custom mode.
Yeah,
Custom
I had no
mode.
clue. So when you're like, I threw my phone, I'm like, what? What did I miss? So I did not know, and I apologize. Bella says he's a
But
really nice guy.
the good news is it'll now show up in one of Michaela's books.
Oh, now that you've mentioned it on Facebook, you'll be getting like advertisements for little people clothing and and little people car adapters so they can drive cars and stuff like that. That's how Facebook works.
Just buy a smart car.
Meep, meep.
Oh, it definitely does that.
It's a mini Cooper.
I saw one the other day. A squirrel ran out in front of it. The smart car was totaled, and the squirrel got away scot-free.
You wrong, John.
I guess.
What you need is one of those that's
No,
painted up
wait a
like,
minute. Wait a minute.
What you
Andrew,
need is one of those that's painted up like the little play school.
little tykes.
Yeah.
Roll, yeah. Andrew,
Somebody has done that, believe it or not. So that's not an
it's
original
several
idea.
people. I believe that's actually a factory option now. Andrew, do you know who Legolas is?
Oh, yes.
No, but let me. I'm
No,
assuming Ellie.
don't bother looking it up because never mind.
Orlando Bloom.
No, this is a fellow from the security.
He is one of the what I would term professional sci-fi con security people. And
I'm sorry, say Legolas. That's always going to be.
well,
that's because he's in a wheelchair and he doesn't have any legs.
he was born without legs. And to give you an idea of how cool he is, he made his own nickname of Legolas.
Was he at HallowCon?
Probably.
Okay,
No.
I
He was
get
not.
I
He was
get it
not.
now.
I've not seen him at a HallowCon. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
No, I haven't seen him at HallowCon yet. I've seen him at
You'll see him at
LibertyCon,
Chattacon.
and I've seen him in Atlanta when there used to be an Anacrocon.
He used to do Dragon Con a lot. I think he still does. He still does a lot of conventions.
He's a very cool guy.
He is. He's great. If you ever get a chance to talk to him, please do, because he's just a wonderful person. And he's in a wheelchair, so I hate to say this, he's the perfect door guard for like the con suite to check ID badges to make sure the people getting in the con suite are proper age and have badges. Because everyone else gets tired of standing around, he just sits there.
That's logical.
It's if I say it bluntly, it sounds rude, but he'll tell you, no, this is a perfect job for me. Yeah.
He's endlessly patient, just sitting there sharpening his claymore.
Yeah.
None shall pass lest I have a badge.
He actually, some drunk guy threw down with him at a Chattacon one year.
Oh God.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Exactly. And he actually grabbed the guy and was holding him down on the ground. He's not small, even though he doesn't have legs. He's not small, and his upper body
I was going
strength.
to say his upper body strength has to be just.
And everybody jumped, and he was a little scuffed up from it, not badly, but
He could
let's
probably
just say that the supposed perpetrator had a really bad day 2 or 3 times. Anyway.
Yeah, it's funny how they keep falling down those stairs.
The bad part is this happened at ground level, and he still managed to fall downstairs. But
and then the police got there and took him upstairs and let him fall down some more.
Yeah, and then he fell down. He fell down a 5-story parking garage.
Joe Botman, Michaela has a question.
Yep. Probably Tuesday night.
Okay, so
Okay.
I haven't been on a plane for 20 years, so that's going to be interesting.
Nah, it's going to be boring.
I'm kind of concerned I'm packing stuff. But
Leave the machine gun at home for a change.
You take a sniper rifle, make it challenging.
yeah, no.
I mean,
And
Put a little
if
note
you know,
in my bag that says John Scarborough, blah 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 blah.
Okay, first of
and
all,
if you know for sure they're going to actually open your luggage.
A lot of people don't know this. It is perfectly legal to take a firearm onto an airplane. Okay. You have to have it in a locked case. You have to show them at the gate when you turn it in. You have to show them that it's not loaded. They prefer if it's not functioning, which means you take it in several pieces and then pack it.
yeah.
And lock it. And it goes into a lock case. And a lot of them require 2 locked cases. But that's impractical with a sniper rifle, or any rifle. But if it's a pistol case, they want you to put the pistol case in a suitcase and lock the suitcase. There can be no ammunition traveling with it, so you can't have bullets, or even you can't have bullets anywhere on the plane. But they will let you take a firearm.
Well, I that's not something I have to worry about. I have to worry about that cane that, no, I'm kidding. I don't have any one of those canes like that yet. Keyword yet.
Now, strangely enough, you can take a
Do you
firearm.
have
They will not let you
have a wish list?
They will.
I know where to get them.
They will let you take a firearm, but they will not let you take a chainsaw. Go figure.
Michaela, I'm heading down to Georgia for UnCon. I won the tickets last year, and I'm gonna go use them.
Hey,
Oh,
where
and
in
there's
Georgia?
Chris. Hello, Chris.
You gonna be in Midtown or in South Georgia, North Georgia, what?
Dalton.
Oh, so
Yeah,
you're gonna be.
it's the same. It's the same hotel as they have
HallowCon.
HallowCon. Thank you, Dawn. My brain was refusing to say the word. Aphasia is a horrible mental condition.
So we'll probably end up at the Waffle House at some point in time. John, you coming down for that?
Sure. Bringing my own ice bucket this time.
When is this happening again?
Thank you, Michaela. Next weekend.
Next weekend.
I
I'll be
will
going
try
to
to get
Baltimore
down
next
there.
weekend, I think.
I will tell you straight up, I'm broke. So.
Hey, Chris.
It was a decent Saturday. Brickfest was a bust.
When is HallowCon again?
Halloween weekend.
Halloween weekend every
like
year.
25th-ish.
Actually, it's the weekend before Halloween or of Halloween. Wait a minute, let me check on that because I can't remember.
It's the Halloween is like Tuesday or Wednesday that week, so the convention will be over by Halloween.
Chris is in the.
Well, Halloween is on Thursday.
It's on the October 25th to the 27th.
Yes.
Okay, I might actually be able to make that. And it's going to be in Dalton too.
Yeah.
Okay, as long as I get it all planned out, because
John
it's in Dalton. It's an inexpensive hotel, and it's right off the interstate. It's easy to get to.
There's a liquor store right down the hill.
Right down the hill from it. I mean, within staggering distance.
Well, it's coming up the hill.
The hotel I'm not worried about because I'll probably only be able to make at least one full day because I would drive up there, do it, hang out with y'all, do whatever, and then drive back. Because I'm right here in Gainesville, which is up 53 to 75 at Calhoun exit, and then up on into Dalton.
You're even a whole lot closer than I am.
Chris, we actually went through a movie montage of Dabney Coleman and all the ones that we remembered. So we are very awesome about that.
Yeah, I think we covered Roger Corman over the weekend. Yes,
Thursday night.
Last week, yeah.
Yeah, last week.
But thank you for letting us know because maybe we didn't know. So we appreciate that.
Yes.
There was a pilot, an ace, World War II ace that died also just a few days ago. Who was that?
I know I saw that, but I can't remember the fellow's name.
Well, good night, Chris. You have one more day of conning tomorrow, don't you? At what where are you at? Matrotham.
Oh, that's right. It's Saturday. I'm going. No, he's at work. No, he's not. He's too smart for that shit. Oh, and Cap, if you do manage to show up, we will be very glad to see you. And Chris and I promise we'll save you a thimble full of statesmen. The concentration is strong with this one.
Which Joe?
No.
Joe just seems like he is on something. He's just like,
Yeah, he's just sitting there like.
Yeah, I'm running through
good night,
various
Chris.
updates and stuff.
Okay, sorry. I had to do a squee.
I actually heard that.
Uh-oh, my squeer must be breaking.
Then maybe my headphones are just really good tonight. The dog didn't yell. No, seriously. I mean, she seldom does because I've got these bone conduction headphones on, and nobody else can hear what I hear, which pretty much describes my music.
And the voices in his head.
Oh, nobody needs to hear those. I have enough trouble going through Atlanta security at the airport.
8 more days till Halloween. 8 more days till Halloween.
Yeah, a ton of people visit the NBCD site Monday night.
Oh, good.
Monday night?
Yeah.
What did we do? Well, Monday night we were on Monday night.
Well, I say a ton. It was 8 visitors, but 29 page views. So
they went through a lot of stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Donna, there's no way I'm not taking a cane. I just got to figure out which one I want to take. The pink one or the purple one? Pink one? Purple one?
Take both.
Has a more comfortable handle.
Take both because it's on an airplane. Unless one is in sections and you can disassemble it, like the one I got after my grandma died.
My blue one is a straight cane, but the other two, the pink and the purple, are both. They can be. They're like nunchucks.
I had a friend who had one of them tactical canes. You know, the ones that's like carbon fiber, modern looking stuff, and it has like. It's the things you see like on eBay and stuff like that. TSA would not let him take it on there. And you know why? Because it has the option for hiking a spike in the bottom of it.
Oh.
Even though he didn't have the spike, they went through everything he had, including taking the cane apart. There was no spike. There was no bladed or pointed objects part of this cane. But because it had the option to mount one, they were like, we'll get a wheelchair. That's going in your check-on bag.
But you would be surprised where people would probably stick one of those if they really wanted to get a weapon on the bag or on the airplane.
I was like, you cannot be. So dude's like, no, I'm absolutely serious. They would not let this guy on because it had that threaded attachment point at the bottom of the cane. And according to the database they have, some of the options were a mud spike for when you're doing actual hiking with it.
Like I said, I can kind of see because people, if they want to get, they'll do what they need to do or what they want to do.
Yeah, but sorry. Even after they checked everything he had, no spike, There was nothing on him that would even resemble a spike or any kind of way to thread into the bottom of the stick. They still would not let him have it. Just because it had the threaded end of the pole was the option. What slam?
I'm just saying, you never know. He may have a lady friend that they didn't know about that she shows something where she shouldn't have subbed it, and then she could have gotten out and gave it to him.
I
You're
don't
like, John,
think
no.
that would. I don't think that would be a viable option, Dawn. I'm sorry. I am very familiar with the female anatomy, and I would not want any lady to put a spike there.
They did the same to me, Michaela. Put that up there. They did the exact same to me. I had one of them hat bill fish hooks, and I even cut the hook tip off of it, and they looked at it and they were like, "Fling, nope, can't have that." Even though it had the barb cut off of it, it was just the end of the little itty bitty piece of metal.
Yeah.
Nope, can't have that. I was like,
That's all right. All I need is 3 sharpened number 2 pencils.
Right. This is all I need right here. You get me back into a corner, I'm gonna get you to a point where you're gonna be like, "We gotta land this plane. This man's bleeding out on the floor." You're like, I don't need no fish hook. I don't need no walking cane with a spear on the end of it. I just beat you to death.
I look at that scene in John Wick and I go, damn, I should sue.
I saw this a video of this guy in his plane was going nuts, just throwing punches and stuff like that. One of the stewardesses, and let's say she was a large black woman, dressed out about 250 pounds, and she wasn't about to take this guy's crap. She come walking out of that center section of the plane where they have the carts with all the food and stuff on it.
The galley carts, yeah.
She comes walking out of the galley with a fire extinguisher. She walked up behind him, yells, "Hey!" And when he turned around, she caught him right in the forehead with the base of that fire extinguisher.
Oh,
Jesus.
Oh.
And he, staggers back, looks at her like, she just hit me with a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, no shit.
She stepped
you give
right
her any
into
more
him
shit, she's
and
gonna
got
hit
him
you again.
And she got him about 5 times in the face, and head, nose, just bloodied him up with this fire extinguisher until he went down. And then about a third of the airplane jumped on top of this guy. I'm surprised the airplane didn't flip over from all the weight.
I bet you they're up front letting the ICAS go center of gravity, and they see it inching around like, what the hell is going on?
And,
where's that trim control again?
There were 12 people laying on top of this guy. And just
all they heard during the fight from the captain was, apparently we're experiencing a little bit of turbulence, folks.
They showed them bringing him off of the airplane later. And
I'm about to say this had to be a news article.
No. Imagine an inchworm made out of duct tape.
Oh, is this the one where they duct taped the dude?
Head to toe. You couldn't even see 10% of the clothing. Okay, that's just
somebody just made him look like an Egyptian mummy or something. They wrapped him up completely, and he's literally coming out the plane looking like this,
rag in his mouth because he wouldn't shut up. Duct tape the rag into his mouth, and just they carried him off the plane like a golf bag. I mean, it was just.
Yes, and his little ID tag then read "impotent."
Well, they let everybody else off the plane into the boarding area. They wouldn't let them leave the boarding area because they had to get statements and stuff. But they got him off the plane. And then the TSA guys, the airport security, went onto the plane, and it showed them dragging the guy off the plane. And just like 4 or 5 of them were carrying this mummy made out of duct tape off the plane. And as it's kind of funny, they came down the air ramp, they came through the boarding area where all the people were waiting to give statements. And as the police were carrying him off, everybody applauded. It's like,
oh yeah.
Hey,
what was funny though was they took him out to this cart that was like a police car, golf cart kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
They took him out there to this golf cart, put him in the back of it, and they're driving him through the airport. Somebody actually filmed it driving away in the airport. And it's all these people walking through the airport looking at this thing going by like, what the hell did he do?
I once surprised a fellow that was quite fond of bullying me. He turned around one day when I was fed up, and I'm standing there with a big fire extinguisher, just going, anytime now. Just pop off one more time. And he looked up and saw the fire extinguisher and saw the expression on my face. He never bothered me again. I mean, he went the next 20 years without bothering me again. It's like, damn, he's quiet.
Apparently, this duct tape thing is not a very uncommon thing. I am seeing a whole bunch of incidents involving people getting duct taped to seats.
Now, technically, they're not allowed to do that anymore because it can interfere. Yeah, if you look up, I'll tell you the search I taped. Aircraft, hostile passenger, duct tape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, it's the same guy. Wait a minute.
What was it?
Yeah, and it goes to apparently they're not supposed to use duct tape anymore because it's a safety hazard. If you have to evacuate the plane,
yeah,
you can't.
I can see that.
He could block other passengers.
What was the search term?
Just throw him out the damn door.
I used aircraft hostile passenger duct tape. And the guy in the orange shirt appears to be quite popular. The lady in the purple shirt appears to be quite popular also. And then there's the guy in the tan. Wait a minute. I think that's tan. It looks like some sort of pattern.
If I remember correctly, the orange shirt is the one that grabbed the flight attendant's breasts.
Oh, was that? Wait a minute. Yes, allegedly assaulted a flight attendant.
Yeah, he's the orange shirt guy that says Columbia is the one that allegedly fondled and groped the flight attendant, grabbing her breast, and then became hostile.
And then there's the guy in the dark purple shirt who apparently got drunk and just was stupid, and they didn't want to put up with him, so they just taped him to the damn chair. And I'm not sure. Flight attendants duct taped a woman after she tried to open the emergency door. Oh, they would not have to duct tape her. I would help with that one. They would.
The only problem was closing the emergency door after you pushed her out.
Somebody tried to open a door on the plane while we're in flight. They would have to.
Yeah, I'm looking at that one right now.
Sponge that individual out of the carpet.
Well, okay, now mid-flight, right? Does anybody know how much force it takes to open one of them doors in flight?
Nope, I've never tried.
Me neither. And
well, it's not even about you trying or not. Aircraft doors, because the aircraft is pressurized.
No. Wait a minute. Most of the doors you can't open them under pressure. Okay?
Yeah.
But the ones over the wing, I don't think they open inward. I think those get pushed out.
I've been through one of the
Don't believe me? Ask Boeing.
Well, there was a reason for that happening. It had nothing to do with it.
That's a good question.
All the doors
do they get
all the doors in the cabin are plug type doors, meaning when the aircraft pressurizes, because they're like a plug you stick in your tub, the pressure seals them even more.
The pressure seals it, yeah.
Okay. Now, a British university did a study on this and took an aircraft up with a pneumatic arm, and they sealed the cockpit so nothing would happen, and they already had their mask and everything on. It took 12,644 pounds for that pneumatic arm to actuate the lever and then pull the door open. 12,000 pounds of pressure to manipulate that door at altitude.
Or one thoroughly determined cat. Hey, you have cats. You know what I'm talking about.
You know, are you sure those
the reason
are you sure the over the wing doors don't push out?
No, the reason why what happened with Southwest on the Boeing airliner is because the way that door is mounted in the frame, the whole frame, yes. But
yeah, the whole frame pushes out. Yeah.
The whole frame that mounts that door, yes, actually comes out. But because of the bolts that were missing, the plug stops,
right,
that actually secure the frame to the fuselage that keeps that door in its plug seal, slipped past the stop gap. So when the cabin pressurized, it was actually pushing the entire frame out of the fuselage. So eventually what happened is enough pressure got there and it just went, see ya.
That's about as frightening as the ones that accidentally developed a sudden and unexpected sunroof in mid-flight.
No, wait a minute. I'm looking at some of these doors on the planes, and they do open to the outside.
Yes, but that's only after the plug seal itself has been
No. These are regular doors, not. These are like main doors.
Oh, yeah. Some of them do. Yes, but when they get closed and they seal up, they become plug seals.
Sort of like bank vault doors. I will be right back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking up plug doors on Wikipedia. What's the first picture they show? Apollo 1.
Plus, there's also maintenance modes and everything else that they can access to open the doors in a way that's not common emergency access. But like if you're looking at Quora, there's a link I'm looking at on Quora. They're called gull wing style doors.
Yeah.
If you look at the diagram, it shows you exactly how they stay closed. And then also, if you've ever watched, have you ever been at the seat where you can actually see them open and close them doors?
Sometimes, yeah. Because strangely
enough, what's the first movement that door always does?
Depends on the door.
In, rotate, out.
Yeah, okay. Of course, they always try. Those doors on the wings, the emergency exits.
Mm-hmm.
Airlines will always try and put some big burly guy in front of it that can help get people in and out the doors,
mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. So when I was in the military flying airlines, they always, can we move you to a different seat? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And what was really nice about it is some of those seats have an aisle in front of them because the aisle is how you get to the emergency door. So you've got plenty of leg room. And so,
the one seat that I always liked was the cabin separators. Especially the 757 or the 767, because 57 didn't have the middle row. 67 had the middle row. But right there at door 2, left and right side, is where the center galley was. So because of that, you had all that.
Best plane I've ever been on. Come back from Germany. It was a KLM flight, Royal Dutch Airlines. And I got it through an ACES ticket. Aces was this organization that would buy up last minute plane seats, like if airplane was
I'm aware of
take off and they had 5 seats left, they would sell them to the military. And if you get there fast enough, you had a plane seat for $99. So me and some friends of mine, we got there, and they sat everybody else down, and because I was last in alphabetical order, they said, okay, we've got everybody else can sit back here in the various seats. Your seat is up here. I was like, oh, okay, I'll see you guys later. So they took me up there. It was a 747. I can't remember which model. I think it's 400, but I might be wrong about that.
Did it have winglets?
Can't remember.
If it did, it was a 400.
Well, I'll tell you why in a moment. I never got to see that far back. They took me up, and right in the nose of the plane is, they don't call it, we would call it business class, but they call it like Royal Dutch class. And then you got the stairwell that goes up to the extremely high class, which is
the upstairs. That's
super Royal Dutch class or whatever the heck. I can't remember. But they took me right up to the front of what would be a coach class. But where they put me, there were 3 seats. I was the only person sitting in them. It was right at the front of the row. No overhead bins. I was on the inside of the plane. I was off to my left, wall to my right, 3 seats. I had them all to myself. Right over here to the right, up against the wall, were closets for baggage. I didn't have to put my bag in an overhead bin. They put it in the closet right there in front of me. Like, cool. The movie screen was right in front of me, about 10 feet. There were no seats in front of me. I was in the hallway for the stairwell going upstairs. And to the side of the movie screen was the entrance to business class. And then I had 2 people over on this side. It's like, cool. I'm just all here by myself. This is cool. And then the lady comes in. Would you like something to drink? Says, yeah, I'd like to get a Jack and Coke. Says, how much does that cost? She says, oh, they're free for service members. And all the people that were over there on that side of the aisle were like,
we had to pay $15 for a beer.
No, they weren't that bad back. This was back in the late 80s.
Yeah, this was
okay.
like
on the airplane.
Not even 5. I even remember this because my dad used to get beers as a Marine, and he'd be like, and other people would be like, I paid $2 for that. He turns around, I'm a Marine. Oh,
yes, sir.
There was a lady over across the aisle from me, and I guess you know how the nose of the airplane slowly tapers toward the front.
Oh yeah.
She was in that one seat where the window seat doesn't have any leg room. And she tried to put her kid over there next to the window. Well, he didn't want to sit. He wanted to lay on the seat. He was tired. Okay. So he was in there. And he didn't want to sit in that seat because there's no leg room. Kid was about 8. Something like that. And so finally he got and he's like, I want to lay down. She said, can't lay down. The seat won't go back or, whatever it was. I can't remember. I was like, ma'am, I got 2 extra seats over here. Why don't you let him lay down over here? And the stewardess comes by. That's okay with you? No problem. So he racked out for the movie. The movie kicked on. That was what caused him to want to go to sleep. He didn't want to watch the movie. It was an adult. It wasn't Thomas the Tank Engine.
Alive.
It was an adult movie, right? We got theaters for that. Yeah.
I don't remember. No, it wasn't that kind of adult movie.
Airport 77.
Yeah, I wish, because that would just be hilarious.
Oh, they actually will not play anything that involves aviation and horror on an airplane for that very reason.
That is a lie, because I have seen snakes on a plane. Okay,
was that with your own device, or was that the public cabin system?
The bad part was trying to get people to quit pretending that their fingers were snakes and sticking their hands in between everybody's fucking seats. That was
I'm sorry. You put your hand anywhere near my seat, and you try to act like a snake. That bitch getting cut off.
Not that I did that, because my bag had a strap on it, so I pulled the strap off and used it for a snake instead.
Oh yeah.
No. Some lady went walking by my seat, and I grabbed that strap. Went
Jesus Christ!
And it's just
how are you not on the no-fly list?
Yeah, no, actually, I'm a please let him fly more, because it was a hilarious list.
This guy's entertaining.
Yeah.
And he knows how to take out terrorists with a pencil.
You know those guys that do the comedic safety briefings on airplanes, and how everybody loves the.
Oh yeah, the shit that Southwest is famous for.
Yes, I'm one of those. Okay.
Oh God. My buddy Walter, that some of y'all know about, when he first got to DHS, guess what they made him? Air Marshal.
Oops.
Yeah,
you're not supposed to say that. You're not supposed to dox people like that on the internet, there, Andrew.
He doesn't do it anymore.
Name.
All y'all know is Walter. So, how many Walters work in the federal government? Good luck finding that one.
Hey,
where's Walter?
My favorite one is the one that is on the comedy things with Jeff Dunham.
Cappy, remember, I'm a woman. I can find shit out that you didn't even know you knew about yourself.
Ahmed, the terrorist.
Yes.
Silence! I kill you!
But he also has Walter.
So, the one story that Walter told me that I'll never forget was this guy. Guy was drunk, right?
Most great stories begin. Yes.
Well, anyway, so imagine this 5'2" Mexican dude, a shorty guy. He's drunk, and he's on Spirit Airlines, and Walter hated flying marshals for Spirit Airlines because you know how Spirit is. It is the bottom of the barrel. You got people wearing "fuck you" shirts in the middle of the damn cabin on these planes. So this little Mexican dude comes walking on. He's like, he just jibber jabbering his ass off. Walter gets up, and Walter is 6'4", so he's got him by a foot, and he's got him by 14 inches. The dude's head is literally at Walter's chest. And Walter, pulls the badge up. Sir, I'm an air marshal, and I'm already looking at you, and the way you're just ripping and ranting down this alley right here, this walkway right here. Do I need to put you off this plane now, or we're going to have a problem? Fuck you, gringo. Walter's like, bopped him right on the head, bopped him right on the top of the head, threw him right down the middle of the floor, be like, get off. It's like, Jesus Christ, Walter, just try to pile drive him into the floor.
Really? Do you know how delicate airplane floors are?
He literally how he told it to me. He said he just went flat like a hammer on the top of his head, and he fell right down in the middle of the floor. And he's like, "Get off!"
Oh my God! I just came up with a new country music song. I was drunk when Delta flew out of Houston.
Now wait a minute. Now Delta's got some prestige behind him. Why you gotta put Delta in the middle of that mess?
Okay, wait a minute.
I've flown Delta. That's why.
Wait a minute. Delta Airlines. If you try to get onto their plane, okay, and you don't have a gun, they will issue you one. Okay.
Wait a minute. What rule? Wait. My mother worked for Delta for 24 years. What rule is this?
It's the one that ain't going to be no terrorist on Delta Airlines rule.
It's Rule 357, but they issue you frangible ammunition.
Because some terrorists jump up and say, I'm taking over the plane, and the last thing you hear is about 150 pistol clicks.
It's it's like that bar in one of those police
RoboCop. It was RoboCop 2. The guy goes in to rob the diner. It turns out everybody eating the diner is a police officer.
Oh yeah.
And the guy behind the counter looks at the guy with the gun and goes, "So, what's it like to be a rocket scientist?"
Oh my God, where is this photo?
Oh,
John,
Lord.
you've probably seen this photo, but I'm gonna have to find it.
That's one of the things that I really liked about L. Neil Smith books. When they got on one of the air transports, you weren't required to surrender your firearm. You were required to swap your ammunition out for frangibles that were guaranteed not to penetrate the titanium hull.
How many people do you think would fuck with this guy's airplane while he's captain? Let me just prop my Barrett up here in the cockpit door. Be like, you get on my plane, it's my way or the skyway.
I think there's about 17 Arab countries that would be afraid of that guy. He'd just be coming into the airport going, got one.
It'd just be like
points.
It'd be like Dulles Tower, this is flight 27, requesting permission for landing approach. Negative. We're going to put you in a holding pattern. About then, the window in the control tower goes, "What the hell was that? You better let me land now. Or I'm going to fire a second shot." Okay.
I can only imagine he's just standing there and standing in the cockpit door while everybody's bored, and he's holding this damn Barrett, going ding, 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 just looking at people like, "Hey, you fuck with my plane if you want to. I will end you and send you out the rear of this plane, falling with a 4-foot hole in your body."
Oh, Lord.
The smirk he's giving too. Do you see the smirk he's got on his face?
You realize I am taking notes now. This shit will show up in a story somewhere.
It's the book, the thing I'm writing, Dan. I'm probably going to wind up on a list or two.
There is a point defense weapon. It's called a personal defense weapon, and it is 4 12-gauge barrels in a polymer frame. It looks like it looks like it doesn't look like much, really. It's about as long as a shoebox. It's about yay big around, has 4 barrels in it, and it's a big polymer block. And then it's got the pistol grip and pop out buttstock in the back of it. And the whole thing is a little over 2.5 feet long when you pop the buttstock out. And it's specifically designed for airliners to use in the cockpit, that if someone tries to get through that door, you've got a 4-barrel shotgun. I don't know whatever happened to it. I just remember seeing pictures of it, and I was like, ooh.
It's on 3D printing websites right now.
No kidding. It looks like it was 3D printed. But it was, I don't know whatever happened with it.
And Jim Bachman's eyebrows went up like half an inch.
Hey,
I would
imagine. Dan, go ahead, John.
Oh, can you imagine you start trying to get the door open on you've got some tool that can get that door open, and you look in there and you see a box with 4 12-gauge barrels in it.
Dan, I found your perfect squirrel.
Oh, my perfect squirrel. Oh dear, I'm afraid to add this. That's an Atlanta squirrel.
Reminds me of the squirrel that had the little flower between its feet that my neighbor put there after he killed himself on the power pole.
Oh, wait, how did a squirrel? I'm not gonna ask.
The squirrels had this tendency to, if they wanted to commit to
I get that. I'm surprised how these squirrels can survive 7,200 volts at unlimited amperage.
No, he did it, but he landed on his back with his paws like this. And our neighbor,
That's saying. He should have been powder.
well, she put a little flower between his feet. Well, bastard knocked our power out, so we weren't too, sad about him.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was the cat that knocked the entire town out and walked away with it from it.
Well, that's a cat.
People. Boom.
That's cat. You can't explain cats. Cats are beyond physics.
Yeah, like the one that jumped off of the top of a damn pole. It was like a 30-foot jump and wound up. They were trying to get him down. They're trying to up there rescue him. And there's this video of it. It's one of those miraculous rescue of pets, whatever type videos. And you see this orange tabby sitting up there, top of the pole.
Oh, okay,
very,
orange.
very, very top of the pole. And right as the firefighter gets up to him, the cat just goes, pew!
That was the first thing. It's an orange cat. All orange cats share one brain cell.
This cat jumped like 50-some feet across while 40-some feet in the air and still made it.
Yeah. Well, they've been copying flying squirrels for years. There's a reason they eat that much. They've got to be able to spread their skin out to form the wings.
Like this guy right here. Slam here getting a little chunky. I'm gonna put him on a diet.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You'll be lucky
look
to
at his
wake
face
up
right
with
now. He's like, I know he's talking about my belly. He's putting me on a diet, isn't he? Fucking human.
You'll be
John,
lucky to wake up with both your feet.
And literally, you just had to post that, huh?
Oh shit! I still had that up. That's my. That's actually.
What I had to post? What? Which one? I posted something.
You put that up, and it's my fault. That's literally 30 years of collecting memes, jokes, and gifs and everything over the years. It's just nothing but memes and pictures and stuff. All entire folder of it.
Your Ray Stevens post.
Oh yes, I did have to put that up because the day the squirrel went berserk in the first self-righteous church in that sleepy little town of Pascagoula. They used to live in Biloxi, which is right down the highway from Pascagoula. So,
Pascagoula is famous for a lot of things, but it's more flying saucers than it is squirrels.
No, they build ships. They build destroyers and neat little things like that. So it has a long shipbuilding tradition, dating back to schooners for shrimping and clamming.
Why do I hear Forrest Gump in the back of my mind?
Shrimp stew, shrimp salad.
Bubba. I gotta fight Bubba. Forrest, you get your ass back here. I got an airstrike inbound. What the hell's the matter with you? I gotta fight Bubba.
Something bit me.
Captain Dan, Lieutenant Dan.
Lieutenant Dan. Dan, how you gonna mess that up? You're Dan yourself. You gonna have to say Captain. It's Lieutenant Dan.
Well, I am a captain.
He is Captain Dan, so that's
he is Captain Dan. So yes, it is
or also known as Capitan Dan.
But one of my favorite memories as a child was we would take my little radio flyer wagon, load the Coleman ice chest in the back of it, walk down the street next to our house, down to where the shrimp boats came in, go in, and they would dump ice and shrimp into this cooler and take them back to grandma's and sit there and do the whole peel and eat shrimp thing. So
And Cap, obviously you have never seen this particular thing that Lewis made.
Ah.
I notice it says locally grown, not legally grown.
Hey.
Wait, you can't have it all.
Hi, DEA.
We're waiting on the laws to change. Got to wait for a few more old people to die.
I'm just waiting on the world to change. Don't you know? There is literally this.
He had a better one. He had a better one. There wasn't Letterman, but
you know, Georgia. There are literally people in Georgia that are flaunting the marijuana laws, hoping that they will get arrested, because there is this huge industry out of Colorado that cannot wait for one of those people to and charge in Georgia so that they can send all these high-powered lawyers in and take it to the Supreme Court and get Georgia's laws overturned. And right now in Georgia, the prosecutors in the various prosecution offices don't want to touch that.
My county.
That will end their career, is trying to defend Georgia against that.
My county, Hall County won't do it. Gwinnett County won't do it.
Good night, Donna.
Good night, Donna.
Good night, Donna.
Let's see. Forsyth won't mess with it. You know, it's actually a lot of the northern counties that won't mess with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The southern counties are going, excuse me, we got lots of farmland and this is taxable.
Well, it's not even that. Like Clayton County, Fayette County, Coweta County,
especially right around
Rockville
Atlanta.
County.
Yeah, every Marietta and all those places around Atlanta. They know they won't get reelected if they push that. None of them. I mean, that's the quickest way to commit political suicide, is to push anti-marijuana right now. So that's.
But then there's Gwinnett County, DeKalb County, Hall County, Forsyth County, White County, Bartow County, all the counties up here by me. You get a couple grams of weed, whatever. Give them a citation, let them go.
And you get down to Valdosta, and they go, "Why do you think these onions?"
If you get down to Valdosta, they like pull you over and ask you if you want to buy any.
I'm gonna have to confer with my uncle about that, because he has that really big. He's the owner of that really big gun range down there in Valdosta, where we had the serious putty incident. I told you that one, didn't I, John?
No. But
me and my cousin, his son.
Oh yes, you have told that story. Okay, yeah.
Where we blew up the Connex trailer with a half pound of C4. And thought it was just a black powder bomb.
Not quite.
Yeah,
no, the physics are a little bit different. The chemistry is a lot different.
Okay. There are mathematical formulas for handling explosives. Okay. Yeah. And you got black powder, which is right about here, and you got C4, which is, like it's.
Yeah, my uncle blamed us, but then when he went back and looked, we said no. We pulled it off of this shelf. The remaining of the shelves on that side of the safe were all black powder or tannerite, simple stuff. Apparently, he had forgotten that he had left one canister in there, and it was the plastic stuff that was supposed to be in the double door of the safe that had a second code. So we grabbed the one, thinking it was simple stuff. It turned out to be serious stuff, and we left a raining mess of metal storm shower for about 1,000-yard radius.
We were up in Knoxville with National Guard one time, and they have a police demolition range.
Mm-hmm.
That police use, and they were letting the National Guard use it for demolition training. And if I remember correctly, they have a 15-pound limit, which isn't much, but you got suburbs and town all around it. It's right outside Knoxville.
Oh,
so you got to be careful. You got to be careful with that sort of stuff. So we went out there, and of course we knew it was a 15-pound limit, which is no problem. The problem was whoever was running the range gave us these. They're cute. That's the best way to put it. They're 1/4 pound TNT cans. Looks like something that candy would come in. Okay, it's just this. No, I kid you not. It's a 1/4 pound. It's about yay long and about this big around. Looks like literally like you pop the end of it and like Skittles would come out or something.
Okay.
And it's got a hole in one end where you put the fuses and the adapter. It's got a screw hole in it for the adapters. These are so cute. And it's not like the 1 pound can, which is a quarter of a shoebox. And so anyway, these are cool. So let's see, 15 pounds. That means we can blow up 60 of these. Yeah, no problem. So we all got it. And they run the det cord and the blasting. We had to crimp the blast, and then we were still crimping blasting caps back in those days. Had to crimp the blasting cap, det cord, ring main. Everybody puts their stuff, and everybody walks away. Yeah, no big deal. So they light it. Boom! No big deal. It was kind of pretty. Big smoke cloud. No big deal. Okay. Wasn't even 15 pounds, really, is what we thought. The problem is that whoever did the calculations for the explosives forgot to include all the det cord and blasting caps for 60 charges, which was about, if I remember correctly, is somewhere in the 350 feet of det cord, which pushed it up close. It's 15-pound limit on the range. I think we detonated close to 23, 24 pounds.
Oops.
Which is a minor oops. But because what we were doing was fairly sharp, it made a very sharp jolt, and everybody could hear it. They started complaining about it. And so anybody that had any problems with their house started complaining to the city that we had broken stuff. They got us, some guy's driveway had a crack in it. It was our fault. If somebody had a crack in their window, it was our fault. And I don't know how they knew this, how they figured it out. But the National Guard had to pay for all these property damage things because of what we did. And I'm thinking somebody local done set them up to get some government money. That's all that was.
Mm-hmm.
It was, yes, we went over the limit, but it wasn't that much over the limit. So it's not enough to break concrete a mile away.
Yeah,
really.
Like how do you do that? Doesn't Clarksville have the fort? What is that fort over there by Clarksville,
Fort Campbell.
Tennessee? Campbell. Don't they have an artillery range over there?
Several.
Yeah,
And demo ranges, tank ranges, and Bradley ranges.
Yeah, so like my friend of mine and her husband live over there, and I've actually been out there once to visit her, and sure enough, you could hear them in just over the hills in the distance. I'm like, she says, "Oh, the tanks are up today." I was like,
they also, I think they have aerial gunnery too for the helicopters. But I might be wrong.
Well, what was that joke that Joe Dog is fond of telling, the one about the road that's nothing but yard sale or flea market stuff?
The I-24 world's longest yard sale, whatever it is. Yeah.
And then somebody's shopping there, and all of a sudden the jets come over. Well, it's either those planes from the Air Force Base or Johnny blew up the meth lab again.
Dan, I'm actually going to pull up a map here just to show you what the heck I'm talking about here. There we go. That'll work.
I'm just stuck on that. How do you crack concrete a mile away?
You don't. You have lawyers and insurance people.
Yeah. You set off the new Madras fault. No, we didn't.
Okay. See, I'm going to bring up a map here because I want to show you all this. Screen share, Google Maps. Yeah.
All I did was start my tractor.
Okay, this is Google Maps. This is just north of Well, you can see Chattanooga there on the map. That's Chattanooga. This is the Appalachian Mountain Ranges here.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the striations with the different valleys and stuff like that. And there's McMinnville. And over here, Arnold Air Force Base at Tullahoma. It's a testing facility, basically. And they were testing.
I've never seen that base.
Yeah, really? That's.
I didn't even know that was there.
Well, it's not a big base. Well, it is a big base, but all they really do is testing, so it's not active. But they were testing the F-22 Raptors there. I'm not sure what they were testing, but they would fly from here down toward Atlanta, which is of course over here. So you can see as they're flying from Tullahoma to Atlanta, they come right past Chattanooga. Here's the problem. Up on this plateau, it's fairly flat. Then they come over these mountain ranges. Well, if they don't put a lot of distance between themselves and the top of these mountain ranges, the air gets thicker and they get more compressibility underneath the aircraft. So if they're not used to flying over this area, when they fly over these things, the air underneath the plane compresses more and they go supersonic. So you get a sonic boom. Okay. Now they're supposed to stay underneath that range where a sonic boom occurs, but it's hard to do when you're going underneath all these mountain ranges. Okay. So basically, if you live anywhere here near Chattanooga and they come over these, either the Signal Mountain Range, Lookout Mountain Range, that area, you're very likely to get a sonic boom. And it's kind of funny. All the people that live up there on that mountain, which is where Joe was talking about, was up on Signal Mountain. They'll be sitting there and the planes will fly over and it's like, boom. And the only reason it did that, it didn't speed up. It wasn't going incredibly fast. It just got too close to the top of the mountain. And the air compressed underneath the plane and sonic boom. So that's mine.
I'm looking at this place. They tested F-22s there with that tiny ass runway.
They tested all sorts of stuff there with that tiny ass runway.
I mean,
Martin Marietta has a major test facility there. They've still got one of the most.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the main campus now. It's just a big giant factory.
It's all testing, the whole thing. They have one of the world's largest and most powerful wind tunnels there.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at that.
It's historic. It dates back to right after World War II. Used to be Camp Forest long ago, before there was an Air Force, back when it was still Army Air Corps. They trained a ranger division there. Two of them actually. That whole area used to be for training rangers. They did anti-aircraft gunnery, and there was a gunnery range for attack planes at one time.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. I'm looking at that. You can see the old gunnery range airfield.
And that's kind of funny. We used to train back when I was in the engineers. We used to train out there a lot. We used to train on the old gunnery ranges, and it's kind of funny. You'd see all these weird concrete structures in the ground out there, and they were for moving targets around. And we had no idea what they did, but it was just concrete and steel rails and stuff like that.
If I may, Dawn, is your shoulder hurting?
No, I'm just listening.
Okay. I got a little worried there.
No, I'm just listening.
You know, it was amazing how much military training went on in Tennessee during World War II. This whole place was covered up with training camps, and none of them existed.
And didn't they move Ranger Phase 2 from up in this area down to Currahee, where it is now?
Yes and no. They had 3 or 4 of them, depending on what the Ranger specialty was going to be. If they were going to be working in mountains, they worked up here. If they're going to be working in flat ground like the main part of France and Germany, they worked down at Currahee. And there was some place up in Montana where they did mountain warfare. I think it was Montana.
I mean, based on how it works today, phase 1 is Benning, phase 2 is Camp Merrill of Dahlonega, and phase 3 is down there at Eglin in the swamps now, which is waterland and marshland training.
Well, they actually had a mountain training facility in East Tennessee. It's right off Highway 111, where they would go and train doing mountaineering. And you know where Fall Creek? You ever heard of Fall Creek Falls?
Yeah, been there.
There was a ranger camp over there.
Is it still there?
No, it's long since.
Because
it disappeared before World War II did. So,
yeah, because I if I remember reading this correctly, Duke Field up there north of Eglin is where Ranger School Phase 3 is in the marshlands. And like I said, Dahlonega, Georgia is Phase 2 mountain and water training. And then Phase 1, where you do all your basics and assignments, is Phase 1 at Columbus. Over at Benning. Because Ranger School is now 3 phases of training. From everything I see.
Believe it or not, the first farm that my dad bought was part of a infantry and tank training ground, and the fields had tank tracks all over them. We found all kinds of blank ammo for like 308s, things like that. Dad found all kinds of what was the rations back then?
MREs, K rations, C rations,
K rations, C rations. He found all, and he'd open up the damn C rations or K rations and go, "Hey, this cheese is still pretty good, but the crackers are stale."
Oh, I get it, but still, ew.
Dawn, there are people on YouTube that will crack open freaking Korean War, Vietnam, these metal tin MRE rations.
I'm just saying, ew. I know people will do it.
They will man up to see if they could eat a 1970s expired MRE just because of how artificial and bland that shit was, that it probably never expires.
Oh, Lord, no.
The 80s, I forgot what his name is. Adam Richman, that did the food that built the 80s. He found food from the 80s had never been opened, and he was testing it. I'm like, oh, like cereal and stuff. I mean, it wasn't like, but still, I'm like, oh, no, ew.
Dad'd be out plowing a field and look around and go, oh, there's a tin there. Open it up. It's cheddar cheese or some kind of cheese.
Okay, that is not a description you want on your food. Okay,
some sort of cheese-like product.
John, when they come from Benning up here to Dahlonega, they fly right past my house, the Ranger recruits and the Blackhawks. Usually it'll be 2 or 3 Blackhawks, and they're always in mode 5, which is the encrypted transponder modes. But the moment they take off out of Camp Merrill after dropping them off, guess what shows up on the ADSB? 2 or 3 Blackhawks lifting out over the mountains, coming back down to the south. And they land over there by you, Dan. They always head over towards Athens.
I wouldn't doubt it.
There's a base.
We get them overhead all the time.
What I'm saying is I see them fly past me, and I'll check ADSB. There's nothing there. That's like they're not there because they're in mode 5, which is encrypted. So civilian receivers or any of the maps, you'll never catch them. But the moment they lift up out of Camp Merrill, dropping off the recruits for Phase 2 training, they fly back down towards Gainesville, then they fly out east towards you.
Yeah. I have seen a C5A at treetop level.
Who's ballsy enough to fly a C5 at treetop? Good.
It was right
God
over.
almighty.
It was right over a football field while we were having a class
plane.
reunion.
Jesus, that's a big ass plane to be doing that with.
I know, and I could just about reach up and tap the damn thing like a basketball player going for a free shot. We've got flights of helicopters going over all the time, and I'm going, oh no, those are too expensive for the cops. And I'll go outside and look and go, no, those are not cops.
Yeah, it's weird. They'll fly from I'm sorry, not Benning, but it'll always be Benning in my head, but Fort Moore, because they renamed it now. They'll fly from Fort Moore up I-85 from Columbus, go around Atlanta, get back on 85, and then fly up 985, and then right as they hit Gainesville, the airport, Lee Memorial, they make that turn to the northwest, then they fly up to Dahlonega. And I've almost got this down to a science now because I know how long it takes. I time them when I hear or see them, and I see 2 or 3 Blackhawks, just and I see them make that turn. I'm like, oh, that's Ranger recruits, because I can see them out the top floor of my house. As soon as they make that turn, all 2 or 3 of them, I'm like, oh yeah, they're going to Merrill.
I've got
By the time I timed them taking back off, and now they're in public mode ADSB, broadcasting, hey, this is who we are, here's our information. I'm like, oh, yeah, that was Rangers all right. It's 33 minutes from the time they pass me to Merrill for them to take back off. And every time, and I can't figure out why, every time they leave Camp Merrill, they go to Ben Epps Airport in Athens.
Yeah. I mean, it's not much of an airport, but it works.
I'm wondering if they're stopping for fuel.
Yes, probably.
There's a major supply facility. It's where the supply sergeants go for their training. Is just east of where Dan lives. I can't remember. Fort Gordon.
Yes, I believe that's right.
Fort Gordon. And basically, it's where supply sergeants pretend to be Army.
Well, it's gotten to the point now after all these years, I can go, oh,
wait, Gordon's down by Augusta.
They're coming southwest to northeast. That's military. They're flying a grid pattern. That's the cops with their IR gear looking for people.
Looking for your liniment ointment.
Yeah. People are growing things they ought not be out amongst the soybeans. And if they're flying north to south, it might be the weather helicopter. If they're flying west to east, it's definitely the weather and traffic helicopters. And I mean, there was one time I was out at it was long before I ever had this place. I was still living at Mom and Dad's. Went out in pitch blackness one night, just as the sun was setting. It was pitch black in the east and just barely sunset in the west. And I watched this light that made absolutely no sound go east to west in about 30 seconds across my entire field of view on a cloudless night.
I didn't know the NSA had a facility at Fort Gordon. Well, it's called Fort Eisenhower now, apparently.
I was just looking up this thing and going, I think I just saw an SR-71. Because it was moving faster than anything I've ever seen before.
You know, I was talking about Tullahoma and all the testing they do down there. I was driving back from Fort Knox one weekend, heading back to Chattanooga, and I just happened to be driving past Tullahoma there, 24. And I look up and I see this plane that I'd never seen before. And it turns out it was an F-117. And I didn't even realize that they had those things operational at the time. But it was kind of cool to see it going over the freeway. Like, whoa. And it's like, oh, I wish I had my camera. Of course, back then we didn't have digital cameras. You know, I would have had to jump out and grab a 35 millimeter.
Oh, John, when I had to move my Lindsay's oldest daughter from New Mexico to here, we went right past the front gate for White Sands. I mean, I could see the card reader.
Did you see Godzilla?
No. Godzilla would have been much more reassuring. And
did you see the kids from Space Camp?
John, I've been sitting here looking at Fort Gordon. It's actually called Fort Eisenhower now. I didn't know this, but Fort Eisenhower is the Georgia office for the NSA. Yeah. Look at this.
All that stuff that was at Fort Knox when I was stationed there is down at Fort Moore now.
Yeah, see, here's Fort Gordon, now called Fort Eisenhower.
Yeah.
Or Camp Gordon. Look at this right here. NSA, Georgia. Apparently, this is the NSA building in Georgia.
Is there a reason why it's shaped like that little girl's axe from Firefly?
I was looking at this. They got 9 freaking generators for this one building.
Those may not be generators. Those may be air conditioners.
No, here's the cooling tower right here.
No, well, go back to the generator thing. Is that fuel? Okay, is that fuel?
Yeah, that's fuel.
Okay, that
that's
would make
fuel.
sense.
One tank
I guess
for
they
each
do need a
9 generators. They got 2 cooling towers.
That we
there's
know
one.
of.
There's 2. But yeah, I was like, wait a minute. Fort Gordon's down by Augusta. That's not near.
If you look to the south and west of Fort Gordon, you'll see the training areas where they go out.
Oh yeah,
supply planes. Yeah,
ranges and all
ranges
that. Yeah,
and it's basic training for supply sergeant or supply people. So,
and then there's if you keep going, there's
Savannah River. You missed it.
Well, no. I'm looking for Stewart.
Oh, while he's looking for that,
go to Savannah. It's 50 miles west of.
Yeah, there it is. There's their training ranges.
While he's looking for that, there's about 7 minutes left for the show.
Ooh,
and
yeah.
John, check the private chat before you leave the studio.
I did check the private chat. I just hadn't replied yet. But yes, I saw what you were posting. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Oh, that is another reason you need to come down to HallowCon's, Jeff.
Why is that?
Pickled eggs.
Bring the hot sauce with you.
And the pickled eggs. And the
well, I make
pickles.
We got the kind of milder side of their hot sauces. 2 of them we picked up are actually a banana pepper based, which went really well with the Italian beef tonight.
I've got some pepper plants that we kept out in the greenhouse over the winter, and they're actually coming up and growing peppers. And I think a couple of them are jalapenos, and I think the other 6 or 7 are mutants. So I don't know what kind of pepper they're going to be. All peppers are in the nightshade family, and they will crossbreed. So you can breed bell peppers and jalapenos and habaneros and all that sort of stuff like that. So.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Peppers.
They do make beautiful canning. If you put them in the canning jars and put them up on the shelf, it's all bright yellow and red and green and just.
Yeah, they have a jalapeno roasted garlic hot sauce that I want to get from them.
Ooh, that does sound good. I'll tell you. Oh, before we leave, I don't know. I shared that recipe for currywurst on Stupid O'Clock, and it's anyway. Just like Oma, she makes old school German dishes. So I go to her website, all sorts of stuff like that. I'm trying to make a currywurst. The first thing she says is, you got to have a good ketchup to make the sauce for the currywurst, because you can make currywurst sauce, and you got to start with really good ketchup. So she tells you how to make your own ketchup.
Ooh.
And I did that last night. I actually have a big bowl, about a quart of ketchup. Here's the interest. Tomato paste, honey, white wine vinegar,
Yes.
onion powder, salt, and a little bit of water. And then you simmer it for like 5 minutes and then let it cool, put it in the fridge. And you let it sit overnight in the fridge and let all the flavors melt. So it's been doing that all day today. And tomorrow I'm actually going to try the curry sauce. Chop it. Well, the problem is I can't find some decent bratwurst for it. There's so many different German bratwurst, but the Americans don't know anything about it. So that's finding good German stuff sucks.
Hmm.
Oh, don't let me stop the whole show.
The ketchup sounds interesting. I may have to.
Most American ketchup is, of course, made with corn syrup.
Right.
And she had two very interesting, and there's another one I want to try, but I'm going to ask Zach if he's ever heard of it. Instead of using honey, she had a vegan alternative where they use maple syrup instead of honey. I was like, that does sound interesting.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the other day. We were having breakfast at the Pancake House, and I
heard a ping.
Who pinged?
Other channel.
And I made I'm like, I wonder what this tastes like in coffee. Ted goes, I don't know. I'm like, it goes, I can't believe you just dumped syrup in your coffee without even thinking about it. I'm like, I got maple coffee at home. What's the difference about putting maple syrup in coffee? It actually tasted really damn good.
Of course, they do make maple.
Hey, you've been to the Waffle House. You know what that's like.
Well, this was the Pancake House. Wrong house.
Okay, kids, it is that time of night where we say good night, everybody.
Good night.
And thanks
Good night,
for being on the show.
And Dawn, blueberry syrup.
And for those of you who are still
strawberry
bored,
syrup.
For those of you who are still bored and have nothing better to do, please go to Dan Hollyfield's show, which is Last Man Standing, which immediately follows this show. So same bat time, same bat channel.
Good night,
everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
I have slept the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up the long, delirious, burning blue, I topped the windswept heights with easy grace, when never lark nor even eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind, I trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God.